Have you ever found yourself stalling to do something important, even knowing that it will only make your life worse? Perhaps that work task you keep pushing to tomorrow, or the personal project you swear you'll start on Monday? Or maybe it's something bigger, that change you know you need to make, but you always find an excuse to postpone. You tell yourself you'll do it later, that you just need more motivation, that you're waiting for the right moment. But the right moment never comes. And do you know why? Because procrastination is not just a simple problem of organization or willpower. It runs much deeper than that. It is a symptom, a reflection of your relationship with fear, pain, and your own identity. And here's the brutal truth that no one likes to admit. The more you procrastinate, the weaker you become. Every time you choose the easier path, every time you delay the inevitable, you are training your mind to escape discomfort. You are teaching yourself that you cannot trust your own word. And little by little, almost without realizing it, you turn into someone who lives at the mercy of their own excuses. But if procrastination is so self-destructive, why do we do it? Why do we keep repeating this cycle, even knowing that it only sinks us further? The answer lies in your brain. Procrastination is not laziness. It is a deeply rooted psychological mechanism. Your own nervous system is sabotaging you. The worst enemy you have is yourself. And the cruelest part, the modern world turns this weakness into a lifestyle. Social media, notifications, short videos, endless entertainment. All of this is designed to capture your attention and feed your habit of postponing what really matters. You are not just fighting against yourself. You are fighting against an entire system that benefits from your procrastination. But today, that changes. In this video, we will dismantle procrastination down to its roots. We will expose the truths you avoid facing. We will talk about fear, self-sabotage, how your own brain fights against you, and, most importantly, how you can take back control. Because in the end, there are only two types of people, those who do and those who watch their lives pass by. What will you be? Now let's get to the naked and raw truth about what procrastination really is. Most people think that procrastination is just a matter of laziness or lack of discipline. They blame themselves for not having enough willpower, believing that the problem is simply lack of motivation. But this is a superficial explanation. Procrastination is not the problem itself. It is a symptom of something much deeper. If it were just laziness, why can you spend hours consuming entertainment, scrolling through social media, or watching videos non-stop? If it were a lack of discipline, why are there moments when you can work hard, when you are under pressure, or when the deadline is already overdue? The problem is not that you don't know how to act. The problem is what action represents for your mind. Procrastination is a defense mechanism. Your brain perceives a task as something uncomfortable, whether due to fear of failure, perfectionism, low self-esteem, or simply because it is something difficult. And then it triggers an alert. Like an animal trying to avoid pain, your mind finds an escape. Suddenly, any other activity seems more interesting. You say you'll just take a quick look at your phone, and before you know it, an hour has passed. You decide to have a coffee before starting, and when you realize it, the day is over. Time slips through your fingers, but your mind convinces you that you had a good reason to delay. And here's the cruelest detail. The more you procrastinate, the easier it becomes to procrastinate again. Your brain learns quickly. It realizes that avoiding a painful task brings immediate relief and starts to turn this into an automatic habit. You train your own mind to escape discomfort, and this creates a vicious cycle. The more you avoid something, the more difficult and frightening it seems. But that's not all. There is another hidden factor in procrastination, something that almost no one notices. Your identity is at stake. When you postpone something, it's often not because the task is difficult, but because completing it forces you to see yourself in a new way. Think about it. If you finish that project, if you finally start studying, if you finally commit to your change, then there will be no more excuses. You will have to prove yourself. And if you fail, if you're not good enough, if you realize you're not who you thought you were, that fear is paralyzing. That's why many people prefer to stay in the limbo of procrastination. Because as long as they don't try, failure remains just a theoretical possibility. Do you understand now? Procrastination is not laziness. It is fear. Fear of making mistakes, fear of exposing yourself, fear of not being good enough, fear of stepping out of your comfort zone. And fear, my friend, is an invisible prison. But this prison has an architect, an internal saboteur that acts in the shadows, dictating your actions without you realizing it. Who is this hidden enemy? In the next part, we will delve into the silent battle that takes place within your own brain and show you how to escape it. If this content is making sense to you, click the subscribe button and subscribe to the channel. Thank you for your support. If you feel that procrastination is something that is out of your control, there is a reason for that. Your own brain is sabotaging you. Inside your mind, two forces are constantly fighting for dominance over your decisions: the limbic system and the prefrontal cortex. This battle happens all the time, and most of the time, the wrong side wins. Let's understand the players in this conflict. On one side, we have the limbic system, the most primitive part of your brain. It is responsible for emotions, impulses, and the desire for immediate rewards. The limbic system evolved to ensure the survival of our species in a hostile environment. In the past, our ancestors needed to react quickly to danger, seek food when they were hungry, and avoid any uncomfortable situation that could threaten their lives. It was not designed to think long-term. On the other side, we have the prefrontal cortex, the most rational and evolved part of the brain. It is the one that plans, sets goals, and makes decisions based on the future. While the limbic system wants comfort and immediate pleasure, the prefrontal cortex wants progress, discipline, and growth. If you have ever felt that internal voice saying, "I need to start now," while another part of you says, "Just 5 more minutes," that is exactly this battle happening inside your mind. And here's the problem. The limbic system acts first. It's fast, automatic, and emotional. The prefrontal cortex, on the other hand, is slow and requires effort. This means that if you are not aware of this struggle, the limbic system will always win. That's why procrastinating feels so easy. Your brain is simply following the evolutionary programming, avoiding effort, avoiding discomfort, choosing the most pleasurable path in the short term. And modernity has made this worse. Think about it. The current world is a true amusement park for the limbic system. Social media, notifications, short videos, ultra-processed food, pornography, video games, all of this activates your instant pleasure circuits, releasing dopamine, the neurotransmitter of pleasure. Your brain was designed to seek dopamine whenever possible, because in the past it was associated with essential achievements like finding food or ensuring reproduction. But today, dopamine is available all the time, with no effort at all. The result? Your brain becomes addicted to instant gratification and completely loses the ability to focus on tasks that require prolonged effort. Now, every time you try to do something difficult, study, work, write, train, the limbic system panics. It detects a threat and quickly pushes you towards something more pleasurable and easy. And what do? You pick up your phone, turn on the TV, do anything that takes you away from discomfort. You don't realize it, but at that moment, you are being controlled. And here's the brutal truth. If you don't take control of your mind, something else will. It could be the entertainment industry, addictive algorithms, the culture of distraction. But in the end, you become just a passenger in your own life. But hold on. This doesn't mean you are doomed to live like this forever. The good news is that there is a way to regain control. You can train your prefrontal cortex to become stronger and break the cycle of procrastination. And for that, we need to understand the most dangerous enemy of all, the fear of failure and self-sabotage. In the next part, we will reveal how fear paralyzes you without you realizing it, and what to do to destroy it before it destroys your dreams. If you procrastinate, there is something you need to understand right now. The problem is not with the task you are avoiding. The problem lies in what that task represents to you. Think about all the things you have procrastinated on: an important job, a personal project, a decision that could change your life. You weren't just postponing the action itself. You were postponing the consequences of that action. You were running away from what could happen if you actually did what needed to be done. And almost always, that escape has a name: fear. Fear is the root of procrastination. But not an obvious fear, like the fear of heights or public speaking. It's a disguised, subtle fear that operates behind the scenes of your mind. It's the fear of failure, the fear of judgment, the fear of realizing that you might not be as good as you thought. Often, procrastination happens because taking action means testing yourself. And testing yourself means risking failure. While you are just planning, thinking, postponing, you keep alive the illusion that you could do it perfectly if you wanted to. But the moment you start, you expose yourself. And what if the result isn't good enough? What if you find out that you're not as talented, as smart, or as capable as you would like to believe? That is the fear that paralyzes. The fear that says, if you don't try, you can't fail. And that's where self-sabotage comes in. Self-sabotage is the mechanism your brain uses to avoid emotional discomfort. It creates excuses, distractions, and even destructive behaviors to prevent you from facing what scares you. Have you noticed how, when you have something important to do, suddenly 1,000 urgent things appear to resolve? Suddenly, your desk needs to be perfectly organized before you start. Suddenly, you need to research just a little more before taking any action. Suddenly, you feel hungry and decide to have a snack before starting. This is not a coincidence. This is your brain trying to protect you from a threat it has created itself. And the worst part? The more you sabotage yourself, the more you reinforce this programming. You start to believe that you lack discipline, that you are not productive, that you are incapable. Every time you procrastinate, you are strengthening that weak and insecure identity. And over time, procrastination stops being a behavior and becomes who you are. But what if I told you that this fear is an illusion? That the failure you fear so much means absolutely nothing? And that the real problem is not the mistake, but the time you waste being afraid of it? What you need is not more motivation. What you need is to change the way you see failure. Because only when you stop running away from mistakes will you finally be able to act. In the next part, we will talk about an even greater enemy, the world around you. How society, the culture of distraction, and social media are programming you to fail. and what you can do to escape this trap before it's too late. If you think that procrastination is just a personal problem, think again. Procrastination is not just your habit, it is a product of the world you live in. We live in the age of distraction. Never before in human history has it been so easy to avoid any minimally uncomfortable task. Today, you have an entire universe of stimuli available at your fingertips, ready to hijack your attention the moment you think about doing something productive. What once required effort and patience has now been replaced by instant gratification. And guess what? This didn't happen by chance. You have been trained to procrastinate. Think about it. All the big companies in the world, all the tech giants, all the social media platforms have a clear goal: to keep your attention captive for as long as possible. They profit from your distraction. The time you spend on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, or any other platform is not accidental. It has been planned. It has been designed so that you can't stop. The infinite feed, the constant notifications, the algorithms that deliver exactly what you want to see. All of this has been created to capture and maintain your focus. Because the more time you spend distracted, the less time you spend building something in your own life. And here's the cruel irony. The more you procrastinate, the more guilty you feel. And the more guilty you feel, the more you seek distraction to relieve that guilt. This is not a coincidence, it's a vicious cycle. You procrastinate, feel bad about it, seek comfort in the easy dopamine of social media, and end up procrastinating even more. Now look around you. Do you think you are the only one stuck in this? Of course not. We live in a world where everyone is constantly overloaded with information and, at the same time, incredibly unproductive. We have never been so busy, but we have never done so little. And do you know why? Because the system works exactly like this. A world of distracted, anxious, and directionless people is an easy world to control. Procrastination is not just a personal problem. It is a social epidemic. But here's the scariest part. If you don't take control of your own mind, someone else will do it for you. So, how do you escape this trap? How do you break this cycle and regain your ability to act, to focus, to build something real? The answer lies in the next part. Now that you understand the enemy, it's time to learn the right weapons to defeat it. In the next section, we will explore proven psychological methods to destroy procrastination and reprogram your mind to take action. It's time to take back control. Now that you understand why you procrastinate and how your own brain and society work against you, the most important question arises: how to break this cycle? If you're expecting a miracle solution, forget it. Overcoming procrastination isn't about finding motivation, it's about reprogramming your mind. You need to create new mental patterns and replace destructive habits with strategies that force your brain to act even when you don't want to. And that requires effort, resilience, and facing discomfort head-on. If you're ready for that, here are some of the most powerful techniques based on psychology and the workings of your own brain to finally destroy procrastination. 1. The 5-second rule. Trick the limbic system. Your mind will always try to convince you to delay anything that seems uncomfortable. But there's a simple trick to fool this automatic programming: the 5-second rule. This technique, created by Mel Robbins, works like this. As soon as you notice you're hesitating to start a task, count down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and just start. Why does this work? Because the limbic system acts quickly to avoid discomfort. But the prefrontal cortex needs just a few seconds of initiative to take control. If you give your mind time to think, you will procrastinate. But if you act before the limbic system comes into play, you break the postponement pattern. 2. The Pomodoro technique. Turning effort into a game. Your brain hates long, tedious tasks, but what does it love? Quick rewards. That's why the Pomodoro technique works so well. It turns work into small challenges. The method is simple. Work for 25 minutes without interruptions, and then take a 5-minute break. Then repeat the cycle. When you complete 4 cycles, you can take a longer break of 15 to 30 minutes. The secret here is to trick your brain. Working for hours seems overwhelming, but 25 minutes? Anyone can do that. What happens? You start, get into the flow, and before you know it, you've accomplished much more than you imagined. 3. The Zeigarnik effect, using your mind to your advantage. Have you ever noticed how a movie or series interrupted in the middle of a tense moment sticks in your head? This happens because of the Zeigarnik effect, a psychological phenomenon that makes the brain obsessed with unfinished tasks. Now, imagine using this against procrastination. The trick is simple. Start your task and stop in the middle. If you have a text to write, write 1 sentence and stop. If you need to study, open the book, read 1 paragraph, and stop. Your brain will feel bothered by not having finished and will want to go back to complete the task. This destroys that thought of, I need to finish everything at once, which often leads to procrastination. Because, in reality, the hardest part isn't continuing, it's starting. 4. The identity of action. You are not what you think, you are what you do. Stop trying to be disciplined. Stop trying to be productive. Start acting as if you already are that person. Procrastination happens because you see yourself as someone who procrastinates. If deep down you believe I am lazy or I never finish anything, your brain will find ways to confirm that identity. But what if, instead, you started saying, I am a person who takes action regardless of whether I'm motivated or not. Don't think about motivation. Don't think about results. Act as if you are that person right now. Because identity doesn't come before action. Action creates identity. These strategies work because they attack procrastination psychologically, going straight to the root of the problem. But there's an important detail. It's no use knowing all this if you don't apply it. And now comes the final question. How to ensure that you never fall into the cycle of procrastination again? In the next part, we will close this video with a direct challenge for you. And if you really want to change, this will be the most important part of all. Now, you know the truth. Procrastination is not laziness. It is not a lack of discipline. It is not just a bad habit. It is a reflection of fear, self-sabotage, and the way the modern world has hijacked your attention. But knowing this is not enough. If it were just a matter of information, no one would procrastinate. The problem is not in what you know. It's in what you do with that knowledge. And this is where the hardest part comes. You have a choice. You can leave this video, agree with everything that has been said, find it interesting, and continue exactly as you are. Continue stuck in the same cycle of postponement, seeking more videos, more tips, more explanations, while your life remains stagnant. You can keep fooling yourself saying that you'll start tomorrow, while days, weeks, and years go by. And when you realize it, it will be too late. Or you can make a decision now, a real decision. A decision that changes everything, because in the end, there are only 2 types of people, those who do and those who watch their lives pass by. And now I want you to prove to yourself which of these people you are. Here is your challenge. In the next 5 seconds, write in the comments, what is the first thing you are procrastinating on, and that you will take action on today. It can be anything, something small, something big. It doesn't matter. But it has to be now. Don't close this video without leaving a comment. If you don't do this, guess what will happen? Your brain will convince you to do it later. And you know what that means. Later is a place where things never happen. So right now, show that you are in control. And after you do that, keep watching the next video, because it is just as important as this one. If you really want to change, you can't stop now. So go ahead. See you there.